Hi, I'm Scott Stein, and what I have here is the 2012 11-inch MacBook Air. Now, the MacBook Air has been around since the fall of 2010, and it hasn't changed its design one bit. Now, on the other hand, it is still really attractive to look at. In fact, at CNET's offices, a lot of people were looking over my shoulder to see what exactly this was, because it is smaller, it is slimmer, it's kind of like your Mini Cooper, cool convertible laptop that just seems a little smaller than possible for a MacBook. And the performance, to its credit, is really about the same level as a 13-inch MacBook Air. It's 0.1 gigahertz slower in the base Core i5 configuration, which you're not going to notice. And there has been a bump up in speed thanks to third-generation Intel processors that are now in all MacBook products. You can also get the same RAM configuration, the same storage, as you could in the 13-inch model. What you're losing here is an SD card slot, which might matter to a few people, and more importantly, battery life. This lasts 2 hours less on a battery charge than the 13-inch model. That being said, almost 5.5 hours of battery life is really good and will do just fine for a lot of people. But it's not that 7 hours plus that you're going to see on the 13-inch. On the other hand, you're going to be saving $100 on this for the equivalent configuration. So some people looking to get the cheapest MacBook possible, well, this happens to be it. The lowest end model of the 11-inch MacBook Air is $999. Now that sounds like a great value if you're looking to buy a general use laptop. Unfortunately, this one is still saddled with a 64 gigabyte SSD that's really too small for most people. I mean, come on. Once you have even your base operating system installed and apps, you're not going to have more than maybe 2/3 of that space available, and it's going to go like that. But if you are, hooking up an external drive, maybe you can get by with it. I would pick the 128 gigabyte model at minimum. The good news is that that version is $1099 this year, $100 less than last year's $1199. But you still want to probably consider upgrading. Also consider that the RAM and SSD in here are either impossible to upgrade or very, very difficult to upgrade. So choose your configuration carefully. If you take this thing all the way up to its maximum configuration, you're going to be laying down $2,149. That is a lot of change. You could get a Retina display MacBook Pro for that amount of money. But know that if you're spending in that lower end of the scale for the 11-inch Air, you're getting a machine that is performing at the scale of a regular Ultrabook, a larger screen laptop. It is every bit as fast, it feels great, and this keyboard has made no compromises. It is an edge-to-edge, full-size keyboard that you could find on any other MacBook like the MacBook Air. The trackpad's a little bit smaller, but that's what they've really made great effort to fit in here. Now you're getting a large bezel around this 11.6-inch screen, but don't worry about that keyboard, it's going to feel great. Now what's changed since last year? Well, that slight bump up in processor speed, a little better battery life, USB 3.0 ports, one on each side, and that's about it. There's also a different charge port, so you're going to have to use different cables, the one that came with this MacBook, and you may have to buy an adapter if you're hooking up to other MagSafe accessories that you have in your home, which is annoying. What hasn't changed? Well, a lot. The size and shape. At 2.38 pounds, is about a pound heavier than the Retina display iPad, so really not that heavy at all. And still got the same Thunderbolt connector here. Overall, it's exciting. It's still very sexy, but for people who are going to be using this as their all-around laptop, that low storage and what you're going to have to pay up to upgrade to, and the fact that it's got a smaller screen and a smaller battery life may tilt you over to wanting to get a MacBook Air in the 13-inch variety instead. I'm Scott Stein, and that's a look at the 11-inch 2012 MacBook Air.